everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen, and if you're new here, this is a corner of the internet where I come at you every other week or so and share what I've been making. I do a lot of knitting, I do a lot of crochet, I do a lot of sewing and quilting. And if that is your thing, if you are multi-craftual, you're in a great place. This is actually not going to be a regular episode because I already published an episode last week, but this is kind of like a bonus episode, if you will, because this weekend I am going to my nephew's bar mitzvah. And if you've been following the channel, you know that I've been working for the past couple of months on a very special gift for him. I've been making a quilt. And if you follow me on social media, you might have seen the FO, the finished object photos that I shared yesterday. So I wanted to do a quick episode, just sharing the finished object, talking about it before I gift it to him. So without further ado, here it is. It's all done. I'm so proud of myself. Number one because I met the deadline. Hooray. I'm going to be giving the quilt to him on time as planned. And number two, I'm just so happy with the way that it turned out. Okay, so here is what it looks like. Yay! Let me stand up. Maybe I can get some more of it in. Let's see. I'll back up. Yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. You're probably so sick of me talking about this project, but if you're just tuning in, this pattern was inspired by crème brûlée, which, yes, it is a dessert. My nephew, he is very into baking. His forte is crème brûlée. He loves making crème brûlées. I mean, me personally, I'm not a sweets person, but you know, they are quite decadent and good, and the kid knows what he's doing. He's like, I don't know, 14 years old at this point, crazy sauce. So at Thanksgiving, I had gifted his sister a quilt, and then, you know, I didn't want to leave him out of the equation, so, you know, I asked him if he would be interested in having, you know, me make him a quilt as well. He said yes, and, you know, we talked about it and settled on a crème brûlée themed quilt, and this is it. This is it. When I set out to make this quilt, I, you know, immediately hopped on the internet and looked for, I guess you could say, crème brûlée colored fabric, and I stumbled on this fat quarter bundle on fatquartershop.com. It was Hoffman, yes, it's Hoffman Fabrics 1895 Batik fabrics in coffee and cream, I believe it is. I'll pop all the info down here along with links to where you can find the fat quarter bundle online and along with everything else that I mentioned in this episode. So once I found the fabric, I had to find a pattern next, and I didn't know what I was looking for. I guess, you know, something that would be dessert themed, or I don't know, but I think if I really wanted to make this truly a crème brûlée inspired project, I would have to dip into applique, which, number one, I'm not well versed in. I need a little more practice when it comes to applique, and second, my machine. I have a Juki TL-2010q, which it only does straight stitch. It doesn't have any bells and whistles. If you want to do applique, you need a special machine to do that, or, you know, a machine that has the ability to do, oh gosh, what is it? Either zigzag stitch, or at the very least, zigzag stitch, satin stitch, or some other kind of blanket stitch. Blanket stitch, that is what your machine typically needs to be able to do if you want to do applique successfully. Or you could just do it by hand, and we ain't got time for that. So, you know, I wanted to keep this very simple as possible. So I stumbled on a quilt called Same Sky by Modernly Morgan. And there was something about it that just clicked. I was like, you know what? It's simple, it's traditional, and I think it'll really make the colors in this fat quarter bundle shine. And I thought that, you know, I could just, you know, do a gradient, you know, have it like just like a crème brûlée dessert. If you look at it, it's dark in the middle and then gradiates out to lighter creams and yellows and what have you. However, when you look at this quilt, I kind of took creative liberties and flipped it. I made an inverse crème brûlée, if you will. So it's lighter on the inside and it's darker towards the outer bits. Anyway, guys, I feel like I'm rambling. There's just so much information that I want to chat about. But anyway, I settled on the Same Sky quilt by Modernly Morgan, and I had actually made another pattern by her in the past. I made the Night Vision quilt, another pattern by Modernly Morgan, and I had such a blast with it. This pattern was no exception. I mean, there was a lot of cutting, there was a lot of half square triangle making and truing up. I mean, labor of love, my friends. And there was a moment where I fell into a slog with this project where I didn't really feel motivated to work on it. And I know I keep mentioning Kate from the Last Homely House. There was one episode where she was making a quilt with her daughter-in-law Anna, and Kate said there's always a point, 9 out of 10, there's always a point in your quilt making where you absolutely don't like the project. Like there's something about it that's driving you nuts, or you just absolutely hate it. It can be the piecing, it could be the quilting, it could be, what have you, the cutting of the fabric. For this one, it was definitely the piecing. Again, like those half score triangles, the truing up, and then also the uncertainty of not knowing if my vision would come together for this quilt. I was like, is this kid even gonna look at this quilt and think creme brulee, or think his Aunt Kristen is totally nuts and out of her mind? But I will say, once this quilt started coming together, once I started piecing it, and yeah, just seeing it come together, that's when it kind of clicked, and I was like, yes, I really, really love I really love where this is going, and it's working out, and it was kind of like a sigh of relief. So, once I had this completely pieced together, it was time to make my quilt sandwich and get her quilted. So yeah, I don't know how well you can see, but I did free motion quilt this on my Juki. Again, I have the TL-2010q, and while I mentioned it can only do straight stitch, it does have the option to drop your feed dogs, and adjust your tension and do free motion quilting. So that's, again, guys, this machine, I am so in love with it. I mean, it was an investment, don't get me wrong, but probably one of the best investments I've ever made in my crafting career. It's just, I love it so much, guys. I love it. And the cool thing about this machine is that while it does come with an extension table, like right out of the box, it has its own extension table, you can get a bigger extension table and rotate it. You rotate the machine 90 degrees and then slip on the bigger extension table, and it kind of mimics a long arm. I mean, it's not a true long arm, obviously, but it gives you enough real estate where you can easily, maneuver your quilt sandwich underneath the needle, and it's really, really cool. So this quilting job that I did, I kind of deviated, well, I did deviate from my usual stipple, meandering stipple stitch, if you will. I don't know, it's kind of blown out, guys, I apologize, but let me see, maybe you can see it more in the darker. Yeah, so I actually, where is it? Hang on. I pulled out this book. I purchased this a while back. It's 180 Doodle quilting designs. There's the cover. I will link to it down below. And I was flipping through here for inspiration and stumbled on this one motif. Where is it? Hang on. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. So I stumbled on this pattern, and I guess I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It kind of reminds me of cinnamon bun swirls, if you will. So to go hand in hand with the dessert theme. I settled on this one. So I made a practice quilt sandwich and just went at it. And unfortunately, my coordination isn't there yet when it comes to free motion quilting. I mean, even though they give you the little arrows and directions to move your needle in, I just couldn't get it down. And yeah, again, practice. But I was able to kind of improvise and get something that I thought was acceptable. I don't know, guys. So yeah, you can see lots of curves and angles, and I fell into a rhythm, and just a really fun, relaxing rhythm. Popped on an audiobook, and I powered through, guys. I got the quilting done in a day, but I will say that was not without a hiccup. There was some drama, let me tell you, because when it was all going smoothly until I got to the part where I had just a little bit left to quilt, and then I realized my fabric, there was a lot of excess fabric, whereas if I were to continue quilting it, it would just overlap and completely distort the motif happening. I really just had to surrender to the fact that I had to unpick some of my work, redistribute the fabric, and redo the quilting. So, continued listening to my audiobook. I'm listening to a really good addictive audiobook right now, so that's that really helped me power through it. But yeah, basically I just, from here up all the way across, I unpicked my work and then redistributed the fabric, and then, you know, just continued on, you know, the show must go on. So here we are, you know. Again, don't look too close because there are some mistakes, but the beauty of quilting, I mean, once the actual quilting is done, it can hide a multitude of sins, guys. You know, I mean, I know my nephew, he's very observant. He's got an eye for detail, and I know he's gonna find several mistakes in here and bring it to my attention. But you know what? I'm completely fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. As long as he still loves it, and he's gonna get a lot of use out of it. I'm happy. I'm happy and content. Anyway, guys, let me see if I can find one of those eyesores for you. Again, like, you really have to point it out, but it's there. There's some here we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here's some more fun mistakes. Can you see it? Can you see it? Let me see. Yeah. It's almost like like right here, there's a line where it just kind of overlaps a little bit, and you know, I was able to fudge it and stitch over it to kind of conceal it. So there's that one, and then yeah, you can see where it puckers a little bit, like right over here. There's some stuff happening, but from far away, guys, you can't tell. You can't tell. So yeah, let me see. Yeah, here's some more. You probably saw that. Yeah, it's a quilt. But again, like, once this goes through the wash, it'll be even more camouflaged and no one will be the wiser. So yay. Here's what it looks like from the back. Here you go. It's kind of blown out, I know, but you know, yeah. So there she is, guys. What else do I want to say about this? The binding. The binding, I actually went to my local fabric store / yarn store, the Nimble Thimble. You know, for some reason when I bought the fat quarter bundle, I completely forgot to buy yardage to make the binding. Don't ask me why, but I probably wasn't thinking. So, you know, when it arrived and I realized, oh crap, I forgot to order binding, I thought I'll just go to the Nimble Thimble. I will admit, the Nimble Thimble, they don't have the biggest selection of fabrics, but they are good on batiks, let me tell you. So, you know, when my fat quarter bundle arrived, I was like, you know what, I'll just go to Nimble Thimble. They'll have batiks. And sure enough, my friends, they had the perfect fabric. So here's what I have left. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it goes so perfectly. I didn't even think this color came with the fat quarter bundle, but it fits in so well, and I think it complements the entire quilt beautifully. I like the darker border. It just ties everything together. And I even thought about adding like another, you know, border with cream just to give it a little frame, but I don't know. I think we're good. I think we're good. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else I want to say other than I'm so happy with the way it turned out, and I hope my nephew enjoys it and gets a lot of use out of it. And you know, yeah, I kind of want to make one for myself using maybe like a different, you know, well, batik, I will be honest, batiks aren't my favorite to work with, but the results, the blood, sweat, and tears are so worth it, guys. I think I might try another round of batik. And the other thing, some of you actually mentioned this in the comments. You mentioned that, you know, try swapping, again, tools. I always mention tools, but try swapping out the needles. The next time I attempt to work with batik fabric, I'm going to swap out my typical, I think it's like a typical 14 size sewing needle. I'm going to swap it out with something thinner because, yeah, that type of size actually punctures the fabric and leaves a big hole. So that too makes the process a little clunky, if you will. Yeah, so she's done, guys. My Same Sky quilt. Highly recommend this pattern. Again, it's, you know, it takes a little love, you know, a little time to cut out your pieces and true things up, but so yeah, guys, wow, another finished quilt. I am so happy with the way it turned out. Did I mention that? Yeah, so anyway, I'm already thinking about my next quilt. I don't have a set pattern or fabric bundle or whatever in mind, but the wheels are turning. I'll save it for the next video, next time I sit down and chat with you. But I hope you enjoyed this little bonus episode. Again, I just wanted to, you know, talk about it and share it with you guys before I gift it away to my nephew. And the like. But yeah, as always, if you've made it this far, if you're still here, thanks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're new here and you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe down below. I put out a video for your viewing pleasure every other week. And that said, have a wonderful weekend, happy making, and I'll see you soon. Bye.